Father and Mother Moon said, the most serious social problems are youth problems and family breakdown. The most powerful motivation to help young people remain pure is the filial heart. In Korean, it is called Hyo Jeong. It is more than a feeling of love and more than just the duty of filial piety. It is the heart in children that joyfully give to their parents, joyfully honor their parents, and joyfully follow their parents. Children living to make their parents happy is Hyo Jeong. This is why Mother Moon put the initials HJ right in the middle of the foundation of the logo of Youth and Students for Peace.
Hello, good morning everyone. Thank you for being here. That video was from the inauguration of the Youth and Students for Peace in Asia and the Pacific. It was done in Bangkok, Thailand, just about a week and a half ago. I put this excerpt of Dr. Robert Kittle's presentation on the Purity Pledge online. So I'll send out the link for that. It's about 10 or 15 minutes, the whole thing. I just gave you an excerpt of it there because I wanted to focus on what he was bringing up, this concept of a Hyo Jeong, or filial piety, the heart of filial piety. We've been hearing this term Hyo Jeong a lot. As he said, in the center of this logos for the Youth and Students for Peace was HJ, the representing Hyo Jeong. Hyo is the Korean word that represents filial piety, and Jeong has to do with heart or attitude or reverence. So Hyo Jeong is the heart of filial piety. It's having the attitude of being filial piety towards your parents. Filial has to do with children, and piety has to do with reverence, revering, and honoring. So, if you look at some of the things that have happened just lately, last year, Mother Moon renamed our training site, our spiritual retreat site in Korea, at Cheongpyeong Lake. She said, let's call it the HJ Chungwon. HJ meaning Hyo Jeong, meaning filial piety, heart of filial piety. Chungwon is garden, is heavenly garden. So this is the renaming and giving us that heart and that feeling of Chungwon, Hyo Jeong. And the musical last year at Foundation Day was the dream of Hyo Jeong. What's Hyo Jeong, right? Last year, all these Korean terms. But it's the heart of filial piety. And the Hyo Jeong World Peace Foundation is the name of the foundation that sponsors the Sunhak Peace Prize, which was like our Nobel Prize for people who are doing significant things dealing with peace in the world. And many of these other organizations, like the Hyo Jeong Cultural Center and the Hyo Jeong Global Culture and Arts Workshops and the Hyo Jeong Academy. And when Mother Moon was in Tokyo, Japan, they had a Hyo Jeong Cultural Festival in Tokyo. And like I said, the Youth and Students for Peace logo has that Hyo Jeong in it. So in looking this up and kind of exploring, okay, what's this about Hyo Jeong and filial piety? Dr. Tyler Hendricks, many of you know, he was a former president of the Church in America and also at the seminary, has a website, trueparentsway.com. I recommend you visit it, trueparentsway.com. And he did a whole series. He does a lot of video blogs as well as articles about different topics. But he did a video blog series called The Meaning of Hyo Jeong. So I'm pulling a lot of information from him. But this idea of filial piety and the parent-child relationship, this isn't new in our movement. I mean, Father Moon has spoken about this many times, and you can find it in many of his earlier speeches. He talked about the importance of the parent-child relationship. Here's a quote, again, all the way through his preaching career. He's been talking about parent-child relationship. But this is particular from one of the peace messages. It's at the inauguration of the Universal Peace Federation to an audience of interfaith and community leaders from all around the world. So this is what Father Moon says. He says, I invite you to enter into a transcendent state and prayerfully ask God, what is the center of the universe? The answer you hear will undoubtedly be the parent-child relationship. Nothing is more important or more precious than the relationship between parent and child. This is because it defines the fundamental relationship between the Creator God and human beings. And then from the Rev Sun Myung and the book on true love, Father Moon says, Filial Piety, Hyo Jeong, right? Filial piety preserves and protects the realm of true love. Because of filial piety, we can build a bridge to the universe. So, filial piety, as I said, the filio has to do with children, piety has to do with dutiful respect and reverence. And understanding this term, actually in the West, it's not that common a term. In the Asian cultures, it's much more recognized. But basically, filial piety is to love, respect, and support parents, elders, and ancestors. It's to bring a good name and reputation to your parents, caring about, I can't do this because it'll make my parents look bad. That kind of feeling of filial piety. To be successful in our lives so that we can support our parents when they get old, right? Yeah, we have to root for that one, right? Grandparents? And filial piety is basically just doing what's best for the parents. Even when we become adults, we care about our parents and we do what's best to help take care of them, to do the best we can for them. As I said, this concept of filial piety is not so strong in modern Western society or culture. We're much more focused on individualism and our independence than on the family. And in the West, there's a bigger emphasis on brotherly love, the horizontal relationships. And there's a big fear about the abuse of the parental or authoritarian positions. We got rid of our kings, right? Because we couldn't trust them. They abused their power. And this is pretty much the result in the Western culture of why we've gotten rid of a lot of this thinking about filial piety and even respect for authority or respect for leaders, is because tragically that power has been abused a lot. But it's still real present, and it's definitely part of God's ideal for this world, for the heavenly kingdom. So I watch a lot of Korean soap operas, right? I'm not so much on American television. And all the time, you'll see the scenario where you've got the son or daughter and the mom or dad are problems. And yet, they're giving them a hard time, they're spending their money, and so the kids always have to pay money and have to take care of their needs and stuff like that. And as a Westerner, I watch this and I kind of go, what? Just leave, right? Just forget about them. They're bad. They're not doing a good job. And it's taken me a while. And I know in my mind, oh no, they should be filial pious, and care for their parents. But over and over, I see this drawn out. Of course, it's a soap opera, right? So it makes it even more extreme. But how the kids just go through all kinds of long suffering trying to take care of their parents and be good to their parents, even when their parents are not so good, even when they're doing bad things. But they have the heart to do the best for their parents. Actually, in Asian culture, there's lots of stories and folk tales that emphasize the value and the importance of filial piety. Even there's lots of stories about stodgy Confucianist scholars, very strict and very, bold in the court, and everyone looks up to them, but then goes home to take care of his parents, and He puts on funny clothes and he's all goofy and he does stuff like he cleans their toilets, or moves their chamber pots, or, doing all kinds of menial tasks and this kind of stuff. And that's held up as like, oh, this is a wonderful ideal. These highfalutin president of the United States or king of the country, but when they're in front of their mom or dad, they're still the kid, and doing things to make the parents happy. And also in the Korean folktales, of course, the story of Hyo Jeong, right? Yeah, the devoted daughter who offers up her life so that her blind father can see. And also, even in the history, the hero of the Korean history was Admiral Yi Sung-shin, right? Who, even though the king and all the leaders were, not so great, they weren't supporting him or whatever, but he went out and even sacrificed his life in order to save the nation, to protect the country. Even when the king was not being so supportive or so good, he still did the right thing as a filial son of the nation. And in Father Moon's autobiography, the Peace-Loving Global System, he has even a chapter where he talks about, the title of that chapter is 10 Years of Tears Melt a Father-in-Law's Heart. And he tells stories about how, Japanese daughters come over to Korea. And of course, there's a difficult relationship between Japanese and Korean. And the father, who was in the Korean War and, persecuted by Japanese, hates her, but loves and serves and creates that kind of heart for eventually, after 10 years, wins the father's heart, right? So this is the culture of Hyo Jeong, the filial piety, that heart of caring, the heart of reverence towards the parents or those in position. Welcome. So, from that slide, from the conversation that Dr. Kittle was having with all the young people in Thailand and speaking about the importance of Hyo Jeong and the importance of filial piety, he brought out these key things, the difference between Hyo Jeong, filial heart, and just our traditional understanding of filial piety. Hyo Jeong is more than just feeling, oh, I love my mom and my dad. I feel good. I love my mom and my dad, right? That's a child's love. I love mom and dad. It's more than just feeling that. And it's more than just, oh, I have a duty, I have the responsibility, the burden to take care of my, I'll complain all the way, but I'll take care of my parents. No. Real, genuine Hyo Jeong is the heart of joy at serving and taking care of our parents. The heart that joyfully gives to the parents. The heart that honors our parents joyfully, not because it's a burden or I'm supposed to or my responsibility, that joyfully follows the example of the parents and does the best. Basically, living to make the parents happy and to feel joy. This is the genuine heart of filial piety, Hyo Jeong, and why Mother Moon is using this term over and over now, because our goal as unifications is how do we build a culture of heart? How do we build a genuine world of true love and true peace? And Father Moon has said over and over, oh, parent-child relationship, parent-child relationship. Well, Mother Moon now is saying, okay, let's take it one step further. Parent-child relationship is built on this heart of Hyo Jeong, of filial piety, of reverence, of caring for our parents, but also it spans not just our parents, but to every level. Again, this is a quote from Father Moon. Filial piety preserves and protects the realm of true love, all aspects of love. Because of filial piety, we can build a bridge to the universe. Filial piety, that love and respect for the elders and parents, love, when we love like that, it changes us. Actually, it's an important concept to understand. Love changes the person who's loving, but also it changes the person who's being loved. So both sides are transformed and changed by this. So if we have a heart of loving and respecting those in a parent position or a leader position or authority, then we also have a positive impact on them. impact on them, and also we change. We change. So, let's look, if we think about this filial piety, this heart of love, not only duty, not only obligation, but it begins at home, in the family, right? The love, as Dr. Kittle said, he says, my parents are the best parents in the whole world, right? The whole world. That's our heart. Of course, we don't compare, it's not like, oh yeah, my parents better than yours. No, my heart is that they are the best. And I love them that way. Even though, yeah, I know, I wish my dad could sing better and could stay in tune. And I know, oh boy, this dad, boy, could sing so well, But my heart is, still the best in the whole world, right? And same thing with our community. We love and care for our community, the people that makes up our... And that's what makes a good citizen in a healthy society. And caring for our nation. Now, we love our nation. It's the best nation in the whole world, right? Yes. But that doesn't mean that we think that other nations are bad or inferior. It's just our heart. Our heart is that kind of love and devotion. And thinking about the whole world, that's the love of saints. But ultimately, everything points us and leads us to this heart of filial piety, leads us to the love of God. The love of our heavenly parent, which encompasses everything. Now, honestly speaking, in our lives, we have a lot of challenges. Having filial piety to those who are in authority or leadership, or to our parents who, sometimes are not so great. But ultimately, our goal is to have this heart of filial piety towards God as our heavenly parent. We stand on a foundation of loving Christ, the Messiah, and true parents, and God as the foundation, for then that filters down to our ability to love the world better, to love our nation as true patriots because of our connection with God and our filial piety and our heart towards God. To love our community, our neighbors, the people around us, because of our love for God. And actually loving our parents like they ought to be loved, like they need to be loved, right? Because of our connection with God, our heavenly parent. We build that foundation, even when they don't deserve it. Because it's built on a foundation of God who does deserve it, who does know it, and our heavenly parent. So, Hyo Jeong, that heart of filial piety, that kind of care and love, is the foundation for all aspects of love, and especially for building a culture of heart in our society. So, it's easy to talk about it, but how do we do it, right? How do we actually cultivate that Hyo Jeong feeling, that Hyo Jeong heart? And really there's, you think about it, we have our intellect, we have our emotion, and then we have our will. Intellect, emotion, and will. We've got to deal with, So firstly, intellectually, we need to understand that this is God's design. This is the design of the universe. God designed us to love. Love to be at the cornerstone of our lives. Love to be at the cornerstone of our relationships. And this heart of filial heart, when we understand that, I have a hard time with that person, but I know I should have a filial heart and love them, right? I know I should have love towards them. And as I love them, I change. As I love them, they change. So understanding that, getting that in our brain is our first step, right? But that's not going to do much if we don't, if we just change our thinking but haven't changed our feeling and our actions, well, right? We're just a lot of talk. Oh, you talk real nice, right? But the next step is how do we actually move ourselves, our emotion and our heart to want to love. I know I should, but I don't really want to. I don't like that person. I know I should love my mom and dad, but man, if I told you all the bad things they've done, you'd never expect me to love them, right? So how do we move our hearts? How do we move our emotion? And I don't know, everyone, we have to look for the way. But for me, the most powerful tool is gratitude. If we look for, in our lives, what things do we have to be thankful for? In relationship to our mom and dad, if we think about not all the shortcomings or the things that they didn't do for me, like they didn't give me ice cream on my birthday, they made me eat vegetables, but the things that they did do, the care for us, the investment, even they made mistakes, but we know that their heart was out of care and out of love. If we can focus our heart of gratitude and have give and take with that, that what we're thinking about is what are we grateful for? And especially when we think about God, our Heavenly Parent, we have so much to be grateful for. So much in our life. Now, again, it's easy to think about the things I didn't like. I can complain about, God, how come this happened to me? Why'd you let this happen? Why'd you do this to me? Right? But if we think about the overwhelming number of amazing blessings that we receive in our lives from God or from our Heavenly Parent, then naturally the heart of gratitude is the motivation to love, to care. The motivation, the feeling rises up. The more I feel grateful when I think about how much I owe my parents, how much I owe God, how much I owe my nation, and the amazing benefits I have from living in this nation, the amazing benefits I have. If I look and my attention is on gratitude, then the emotion comes naturally, and I feel the move, the desire to do good, to care, to do things that I know are going to benefit others. So, changing my thinking, understanding that this is the design of the universe, and growing that heart, the emotion, where I want to love. The only thing that's missing now is putting it into action, right? It's doing it. We need to practice love. Now, the challenge, and I'm grateful the way he presented it in his presentation, was that sacrifice, real genuine service and love involves sacrifice. It involves being inconvenienced. It involves being uncomfortable. If I really love and I want to put that love into action, it means I'm going to do something for the benefit of others, even at the sacrifice of myself, my own discomfort, my own convenience. So if we cultivate the habit of service, the habit of willingly giving up things, willingly sacrificing small things, just on a daily basis, we cultivate this habit in our lives, then when the opportunity comes, I could really make a difference in this person's life. I just need to give up, my time here. It's easy to do because I know how to sacrifice. I know how to give up things for something greater, of greater value. So I encourage you, it's a daily practice. Look for opportunities to serve. Look for opportunities to sacrifice and give something up for the benefit of something larger. The true joy in our life and fulfillment in our life comes when we make a difference in the lives of the people around us. When we're making a difference in the world around us. That's what brings us joy and fulfillment. And that's what brings joy to God, our Heavenly Parent. So, now we're living in an amazing time. In Unification, as we study providential history and we see how God has been working, and we can see the workings of so many things that are happening right now. So it comes down to us. It's like, okay, what am I doing in my life to support God, my Heavenly Parent, to support our true parents, to support the providence, support God's ideal being made real in the world? How do I cultivate this Hyo Jeong heart, this attitude of filial piety, so that I apply it in my daily life? And this is where we have rallies and campaigns and many things that are going on. Of course, right now is Madison Square Garden. So even if we can't physically go there, how can we support with our heart? I encourage you, if you haven't made a donation, please make some donation to support the event. If you can make the 700 goal, that's wonderful. If you can do more, that's even better. But give something. Give according to what you can, so that you know that you've contributed with a heart of caring for our parents and for God's providence. In terms of our tribe and our community, are we making a difference? Are we investing in the people around us, in our environment, in our community? Are we sharing God's amazing truth about God's love? How much God loves everyone. People have so many concepts and misunderstandings about God, and yet we have this precious truth. Are we sharing it? With genuine Hyo Jeong, with a genuine heart of filial piety, then naturally we want more people. God is desperate to have all people know and experience God's love. Are we inviting people to our community? Are we inviting people to our homes? Are we inviting people to experience the love that God has poured out on us and sharing that with the world? So, let me close with this from Father Moon. He says, people who go the way of filial piety, attending their grandparents and parents in the family, and apply these lessons to the world, will find that they can relate to everyone, anywhere. Even if they go to the spirit world and meet people who have lived in past ages, they will be welcomed. Please join me in prayer. Good morning, Father, Mother, God, our loving Heavenly Parent. We are so grateful for the many blessings that we have in our lives, and pray we can continue to grow in our understanding and appreciation of your heart of love, and that we can genuinely show the Hyo Jeong that brings joy to you and brings healing in this world. Heavenly Parent, thank you for your love. And with our hearts and our determination, we want to be people who understand your heart, who feel your heart and express that love through actions of service, actions of sacrifice, and actions of living for the benefit of others in order to make this world a true world filled with your love, with your heart. Heavenly Parent, we want to see that culture of heart made real in our own lives, made real in our families, in our communities, in this nation of America, that it can bless the world, and ultimately, Heavenly Parent, that this world is truly a place filled with your love and a culture of heart. So as your sons and daughters and as blessed central families, we offer ourselves to you gratefully. Amen and adieu. Okay, thank you everyone. Please turn to your neighbor and share about Hyo Jeong.